Commentator for CNN, Adam Kinzinger. Also here with me in New Hampshire is Matt Mowers, former Trump administration official and former candidate for Congress here in New Hampshire. Hello to you both. I'm going to start with you, the former Congressman, Adam Kinzinger. I'll start by asking you for your thoughts on Ron DeSantis. You served with him in the House, and you've been watching this campaign. I'm guessing you're not surprised that he endorsed Donald Trump, but give me what's going through your head at this hour.
Yeah, I mean, my shock meter is just off the charts. Like, no, I mean, if you, even in the attacks that you were playing, they were so mild. He's like, Donald Trump didn't build the wall, didn't make Mexico pay for. I mean, he was set up the whole time to be able to just turn and endorse Donald Trump. And I'll tell you, one of Donald Trump's superpowers, if we're being honest, is that he'll welcome you back into the fold. I mean, if I said, you know what, Dana, I changed my mind, I'm supporting Trump now, God forbid, and I won't, by the way. But if I did that, I could go to Mar-a-Lago tomorrow. And so that's what he does. He welcomes everybody into his warm embrace. And so, yeah, Ron DeSantis never once attacked him for the fact that he was indicted on 90 different counts of felonies, that he launched an insurrection against the Capitol, that he will not recognize a legitimately elected president. He tried to attack him from the right. That's why his campaign failed, by the way, but that's also why there's no surprise that he endorsed Trump.
What are your thoughts on this? Well, let's just start with DeSantis and what you think went wrong, because he did play hard here in New Hampshire until he pulled up stakes and left.
Right. Well, I think it was a few different things. Number one, let's not forget that he was on the receiving end of $47 million of negative ads. Yeah. $47 million. I mean, that's more than Donald Trump. That's more than Joe Biden. That's more than Nikki Haley. It's more than most of them combined. And so to undergo that type of methodical takedown, largely from Donald Trump and his super PAC, was really challenging for him. The second critical mistake he made is that he was trying to out-conservative and outflank Donald Trump to try to win the Iowa caucus, right, which is a low-turnout affair, very conservative. He tried to get to the right of him on abortion, tried to get to the right of him on transgender issues, and for every single social conservative he may have picked up in Iowa, which wasn't that many as we saw, he lost a lot of independents here in New Hampshire. It's one of the reasons why I'm not shocked that he got out here today, given he was only polling around 6% on Tuesday.
I want you both to listen to a little bit of my conversation from this morning on State of the Union with Tim Scott, senator from South Carolina, who endorsed Donald Trump on Friday. Listen to part of that. What you did say on Friday, Senator, is that when you endorse Donald Trump is that he will, quote, restore law and order, which is some of what you're talking about here this morning. As president, he did try to overturn a legitimate election. He called January 6 rioters hostages and promised to pardon them. He is charged with keeping classified documents and obstructing attempts to get them back. And on the campaign now, he's arguing that presidents should have total immunity, even if they, quote, cross the line. How is that law and order?
Well, he has a legal team that can answer the questions of the legal challenges that he faces. But what I can tell you is that when you look around the cities, when you grow up in poor communities like I did, and you watch the crime ravishing your communities, you ask yourself, what president has allowed that to happen? It's Joe Biden. When you have DAs around the country that says it's no longer a crime to steal $1,000 worth of goods, and those stores start closing in San Francisco and across the country, you ask yourself, what president allowed that lawless behavior to continue? That's Joe Biden. You ask yourself, who can restore the kind of law and order in our nation to allow it to go forward? That would be Donald Trump. Senator,
I understand that you're talking about Joe Biden, but I do want to get your thoughts in a more fulsome way on Donald Trump, because your endorsement was a big deal and is a big deal. I just want to take one of the examples that I gave. Donald Trump calls the January 6 rioters hostages. You were at the Capitol that day. You said that you took off your jacket, you rolled up your sleeves, and you were prepared to defend yourself, quote, presumably until I died. Would you call the people who are now facing prosecution hostages?
I would say that every single person facing our justice system should have justice done. The facts and the evidence in each individual case matters. I have confidence that that process will play out. Here's what I said also in the book that I wrote. I talked about January the 6th because I'm one of the few people who was actually there. With the people outside, 99% of the people who showed up were there to exercise their First Amendment rights. What I said then is what I'll say now. I don't hold those people at harm. I don't hold them responsible for the actions of a few. I do hold the few responsible.
So the few who are
people have to be responsible for themselves.
So to use your words, the few who are being prosecuted,
yes,
going through the justice system, would you call them hostages?
I believe that our Department of Justice should continue and allow a jury of their peers to make the decisions. That's America.
So just to be clear, and I want to move on, you disagree with Donald Trump calling them hostages, sounds like.
Just for the third time. Yes, I believe that we should have confidence in restoring the blindfold to Lady Justice's eyes.
Congressman Kinzinger, you were a member of the Select Committee to look into January 6th. What do you think about that?
What is it for a man to gain the world but lose his soul? I don't doubt Tim Scott's spiritual condition. I think it's solid. But sometimes you make compromises for politics, and that's what you heard. Great questions, by the way, and good job on that. And you saw him skip around an obvious answer. He doesn't believe they're hostages. He was there on January 6th like I was. He feared for his life like I did and every other member of the House and every member of the Senate. And his uber focus on crime with related to Trump. And I have a concern about crime too, but it's worth noting. Almost every authoritarian that comes to power in a legitimate election and comes to power using crime and safety issues, the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, in order to appeal to the need for safety of people, and that's how they come to power. So when you hear over and over crime, just keep that in mind, and then look at the man who's claiming to be the person of law and order, and you saw the struggle in Senator Scott's eyes. And I'll tell you what, he actually disappoints me more than almost anybody so far because I know him well. I was elected with him. We served on John Boehner's transition team together in 2010. I never would have expected that he would have gone this way, and it hurts, actually.
Matt?
I would give Tim Scott maybe a B for his Veep Steak audition that he just did this morning. I mean, clearly that's what this and so much is about, and whether it's what you see Elise Stefanik beginning to say or so many others that, are clearly angling to become Donald Trump's potential vice presidential nominee or want to have political viability should he become president again. You're going to see a lot of them have challenges trying to, conform and synthesize what they probably believe. And I take the congressman, he knows Senator Scott better than I do, what he actually truly believes to what they're saying. Mike Pence found ways to do that for 5 years until that ultimate test on January 6th where he just couldn't do it. And it'll be really telling to see these other folks who are auditioning to become vice president, how they comport themselves in this as well.
Yeah, it was certainly interesting.
Yeah,
I'll leave it there.
Yep.
But you know what? We're not quite there yet because the race isn't open.
That's right.
Over for the nomination.
That's right.
We do have a very important contest here. Former Congressman Adam Kinzinger, Matt Mowers, thank you so much to both of you.
Yep.
And up next, a big-time Trump donor that switched to Team DeSantis. Now that DeSantis is out, who's he going to endorse?